Hello, welcome, and compliments of the season. This is Business Breakfast, coming to you live from our studio here in Lagos, the nation's commercial capital. I am Omobolanle Adeshui. Coming up on the program today, in July 2021, the CBN banned the sale of foreign exchange Forex to Bureau de Change operators. It also stopped the issuance of new licenses to BDCs. Godwin Emefiele, CBN governor, accused BDC operators of turning away from their objectives of processed foreign exchange demands of $5,000 or less to becoming a conduit for illegal financial flows, working with corrupt people to conduct money laundering in Nigeria. We'll take a closer look at the impact of the ban and the persistent review of the policy. Also to come, Nigerian equities market opens the year on a positive territory as Nigeria Exchange All-Share Index gains 0.73% at the close of activities Tuesday. Our focus in the second part of the show is on the Nigerian market outlook for the year 2022. This is Business Breakfast. Now let's begin with some top business stories. The Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, has emphasized the need for extensive structural reform this year to fast-track the country's economic growth. Emefiele made this known in his personal comment at the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting, which was posted on the Apex Bank's website. Driven by base year effect, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, had revealed that Nigeria's gross domestic product, GDP, grew by 4.03% in the third quarter of 2021, compared with 5.01% recorded in the preceding quarter. Similarly, the federal government had listed the removal of fuel subsidy, which it describes as a major setback to the economy. Meanwhile, in the MPC communique, Emefiele stressed extensive structural reforms are also needed to ensure that long-run paths of growth surpass potential. The CBN governor also noted that business sentiment will be brightened following the various supply-side supports by the Apex Bank and orderly implementation of macroeconomic policies. The Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, is set to publish the names of 7,912 debtors owing it a total of 4.4 trillion naira, it has been learned. This is equal to the expiration of the 30-day ultimatum given by the National Assembly to debtors to regularize their debt status with the bad debt manager. The 1 month's notice elapses on 5th January 2022. The corporation further stated that it had no choice but to obey the directive of the National Assembly, asking it to publish the names of debtors who have refused to repay their loans. The spokesperson for AMCON, Mr. Jude Unwauzo, also said debtors who were yet to provide a repayment proposal risked having their details published in the media after the 30-day grace period given by the National Assembly. According to the corporation, out of a total of 12,743 non-performing loans inherited by the agency, 4,831 debtors have settled their indebtedness, leaving a total of 7,912 outstanding debtors. AMCON confirmed that the agency would be publishing the names of 7,912 debtors owing the agency 4.4 trillion naira at the expiration of the deadline. And the governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has inaugurated a feeding and community outreach program aimed at supporting 30,000 Lagosians. The program is an offshoot of the digital Bus Christmas celebration, which originated from the comment section of the governor's official Instagram page. The program was inaugurated on the New Year's Day and expected to impact individuals and households in the most vulnerable communities across the state. Locales of 30 communities within Lagos mainland, Lagos Island, Etiosa, Ajeromi, Ifelodo, Ibejuleki, among a host of other local government and local council development areas, are expected to benefit from the program. Sanwo-Olu encouraged residents to show love and compassion to one another throughout the season, stating, quote, "We should seize the opportunity of the celebration to strengthen our love for one another by being kind and generous to the people around us," end of quote. The pension fund administrators invested 693 billion naira funds under the contributory pension scheme in banks in 9 months, according to data from the National Pension Commission. PENCOM's unaudited report on pension funds industry portfolio for the period ended September 30, 2021 revealed that the PFA's investment in banks rose from 1.53 trillion naira as of the end of December 2020 to 2.22 trillion naira in September 2021. Total funds under the CPS have exceeded 13 trillion naira, according to the Commission. The Commission had in its amended investment regulation highlighted the requirement for investing the funds in line with the provision of Pension Reform Act 2014. It said the purpose of the regulation was to provide uniform rules and standards for the investment of pension fund assets. According to the regulation, pension fund custodians must only take written instructions from licensed PFAs with respect to the PFA's investment and management of pension fund assets held in the custody of the PFCs on behalf of the contributors. That's about the size of our top business stories. Coming up in a moment. Now, our searchlight is on the Forex ban of the CBN, and we'll be back to look into the details of that. Please stay with us.
Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, for clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners, clean wash, quick delivery.
Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, for clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners, clean wash, quick delivery.
Mama, you're coming to Lagos. Banga. Baby, Mama just called me now. She's coming to see you. She asked me to tell you to make banga soup for her. And she's close to the house. Oh.
How do you expect me to prepare banga in just few minutes?
I have a solution for you.
Really?
If you no sabi cook the banga, you no go enter my family. Pali banga is used in making other exotic dishes such as banga jollof rice, banga efo riro, banga asaro or yam porridge, banga egusi, and many more. Pali banga is easy to open, no preservatives, no cholesterol, and no coloring. Approved by NAFDAC. Manufactured by Pali Agro Products Limited. Available in all leading stores and supermarkets nationwide.
Pali banga, natural palm fruit extracts for tasty African cuisine.
Welcome back. Now, throughout 2021, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, implemented various reforms and policies to ensure economic and financial stability. While it received kudos for some of its policies, the Apex Bank also received knocks from Nigerians. Now, let's outline 5 major policies of the CBN that had impacts on Nigerians in the year 2021. The Naira for Dollar scheme, which was launched in March 2021, the Apex Bank introduced as an incentive to boost inflows of diaspora remittances into the country. And with the initiative, all recipients of diaspora remittances through CBN's licensed international money transfer operators are paid 5 Naira for every $1 received as remittance inflow. Also, let's look at the ban of foreign exchange sale to BDCs, that is the Bureau de Change operators, in July 2021, accusing the BDC operators of turning away from their objectives to process foreign exchange demands of $5,000 or less to becoming a conduit for illegal financial flows, working with corrupt people to conduct money laundering in Nigeria. Also in February 2021, the CBN directed deposit money banks, DMBs, non-bank financial institutions, NBFIs, and other financial institutions, OFIs, to identify persons or entities involved in cryptocurrency transactions within their systems and ensure that such accounts are closed immediately. It also directed banks from transacting in and with entities dealing in cryptocurrencies. Now, in October, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, rolled out the e-Naira, the country's first digital currency. E-Naira serves as both a medium of exchange and a store of value, offering better payment prospects in retail transactions when compared to cash payments. And lastly, on October 25, 2021, the CBN announced the introduction of its new financial instrument tagged the 100 for 100 PPP policy on production and productivity. Now let's get talking. I have Kasimo Garaba-Karafi, MD CEO at Securities and Funds Limited, joining me via the phone. Thank you so much for joining us, Kasimo.
I'm happy to be with you.
CBN retained the monetary policy rate at 11.5% and the asymmetric corridor of plus 100 and minus 700 basis points around the MPR. Also, the cash reserve ratio was put at 27.5% and 30 liquidity ratio were equally maintained. Now, clearly, the Apex Bank maintained all monetary policy parameters, and it is a new year. The next MPC meeting is scheduled for the first quarter. Do you envisage any changes regarding the MPR?
I don't envisage any changes because we are not surprised. Remember, in the past, there was a time the CBN policy retained the same policy for almost 30 consecutive terms. So for now, I expect the same policy to be retained in 2022 for the first quarter, in view of the fact that most of the policy are working for them. You remember that the inflation is coming down, and there is some stability in the exchange rate, and the price of the crude oil retained. So therefore, all things be equal, we expect the same policy to retain in the first quarter of 2022.
So are you saying that these policies or the retainment of these figures may affect the economy adversely?
Well, if you look at it, for now, the policy that the CBN maintained is working for it. You remember that the last GDP report by the NBS, the Nigerian Board of Statistics, show that there is growth in the GDP. And if they can retain that growth of the GDP in 2022, is good for the economy and is good for the policy of the Nigerian Central Bank. So I see that those items will be retained even in the next sitting by the CBN policy.
Okay. Now, in 2021, the CBN came with policies in a bid to reflate the economy, and this was badly dealt with due to the COVID-19 pandemic that ravaged the economy in 2020. How would you rate the Apex Bank that vis-a-vis the performance of its economic policies? What would be your scorecard, your rating?
Well, my rating, I will score them average or a bit above average in view of the fact that our GDP growth is at least 4%, and we are expecting by the end of the year it will return that or even better. When you remember that in the 2020 or 2019 we experienced depression of the economy. So to come out from the depression to start recording a positive growth in the GDP, you will say is a good policy. And don't forget that it was caused by the COVID. And the COVID is a worldwide effect. Nigeria is not isolation. So Nigeria were affected in the depression of the economy as globally the world was affected by the depression of the economy. And the monetary policy, that is what the CBN can do. If you look at it, they almost exhaust most of their policies. So what is left is a fiscal policy to complement with the monetary policy to bring up the economy. Now, you remember that the 2022 budget is a deficit budget. What it means that it's an expansionary budget. And when you have expansionary budget, you are triggering the economy to move faster. And when they are complementing with the policy of the monetary policy are likely to retain all their policy in view of the deficit policy set by the federal government.
All right, thank you. I would take a short break now. We'll be back to continue the conversation. Please stay with us. Glad to know you're still there. We're still discussing CBN's Forex ban policy, and I still have with me Kasim Garba-Karfi, MD CEO, App Securities and Fund Limited. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Thank you.
Now, in July 2021, the CBN banned the sale of foreign exchange, that's Forex, to bureau de change operators. It also stopped the issuance of new licenses to BDCs. And the day after the move, we saw the Naira suffer an abysmal fall. That's from 505 Naira to 525 Naira to $1 at the parallel market. Emefiele, that's the CBN governor, has consistently argued that it is not true. It is not a true reflection of Nigeria's exchange rate. Now, today, the Naira is trading at a record high between 565 Naira to 570 Naira at the black market. Isn't this counterproductive?
Well, you see, there is two choices to the issue. Do you decide to do an open policy or do you want to do restrictive policy? As far as the foreign exchange is concerned in the Nigerian economy, we are applying restrictive policy. When you are applying restrictive policy, you have to bring all the argument, and that is what it's doing. The easiest way, allowed open policy. When you allowed open policy, we will not have two exchange rate. We'll have a single exchange rate. And that is what most of the economy that grow faster than us, they allowed open policy. Go to Egypt. Everybody know that the economy of Egypt is moving faster because they allowed an open policy. And if you go to Dubai, Emirates, they allowed an open policy. When you allowed open policy, you see that the exchange rate will be once, and it will be once for all. But as long as we apply restrictive policy, then we have to bring all argument and counter argument to justify our action. And that is what CBN is doing.
Now, some analysts have argued that the fall of the Naira is expected, and they are already opining that things will stabilize later. Do you also agree with these thoughts?
As long as we are doing restrictive policy, it will only expect, but I don't think that is going to happen. Remember, already there is many items that the CBN banned from foreign exchange.
Yes, we're coming to that.
If you ban item from foreign exchange, and those items are basic necessity, you are talking of the food items. You are talking of the item that we need today and tomorrow. So what do you expect them to do? You ban them from providing them foreign exchange from CBN. You did not totally ban them from coming into the country. So what does that mean? They have to go all out to get their dollar, to get their foreign exchange in order to enable them to keep going. And this is what we are saying, restrictive policy. So when you restrict certain item, you restrict them from you releasing dollar to them. They have to go out to get it, and therefore you continue to see this variation in the exchange rate, and you will never get stability in it, because at any given point they will go out to look for more foreign exchange at whatever price they can afford it, and they will pay in order to import what they want to import.
Now, talking about the over 40 items actually that the CBN banned in 2016. Now, economists and analysts have called for a review, saying that the CBN should have some form of stakeholders meeting with those involved, so that they can look at ways to balance up so that the manufacturers and producers are not adversely affected. What do you make of this?
Well, to me, it's neither here nor there. Because look at it. One of the items that were banned is the cement. And you know the price of bag of cement before the ban. We are talking of 2005, 2006. Today, what is the price of cement? We are talking of...
Okay, Kasimo, we're having difficulty. Hello? We're having a little bit of difficulty getting to hear you. Looks like there's some issue with the network provider. We might have to take a break, and then we'll come back to continue the conversation. Please stay with us. It is still
I hope it's okay now.
Kasimo.
Yes.
Yes, we couldn't hear you earlier, so maybe we should give it a try again.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what I'm saying, when you look at the item ban by the CBN, one of them is the cement. And when you look at the price of cement, at the time it was banned, it's trading around 2005, 2008. Today, as I'm talking to you, a bag of cement is trading about 5,000. And this is a product that is produced in Nigeria. All the material, both the limestone, the gypsum are locally available. So what it means that for banning this item, it increases the inflation. And most of the manufacturers, those that can manufacture it here, they are now reaping a lot of profit. The same thing with the bag of rice. What is the bag of rice today? You are talking of 30,000, from 15 to 16,000. So when it was bad, it made the local producer to reap a lot of profit. And by reaping a lot of profit, it now brings more producers into it. As I'm talking to you, more companies are coming into Nigeria to produce cement because we are blessed with the limestone and gypsum. So we don't need to import anything. But because of the huge profit, today you are seeing more companies are coming into it. And the same thing in the production of rice. I'm telling you, go to the north, you see a lot of people now, they are into farming of rice because of the profit. So as long as...
So isn't that a good thing, Kasimo? Isn't that a good thing? The fact that it's boosting local production.
But we are paying it on the, look at generally, is your salary review, you are now doubling the pricing. So yes, it's a good thing, but when you look at the average poor man or the average on the street people are paying 2 times the price. So the government need to look at it. Yes, you want this item, but at what price are we getting it?
Okay. Now, the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, that's the CPPE, advised the CBN to adopt a flexible exchange rate policy regime, a pricing mechanism that reflects the demand and supply fundamentals in the foreign exchange markets. Do you see this as a viable solution? We've also heard analysts calling for the devaluation of the Naira to balance things up. Do you see these options viable?
Well, this option will be viable if we decided to take it because it will reduce the cost of the inflation in the first place, and it will bring more intensive competition to the local producers. Because what the local producers, they use the bag to now earn a lot of profit. And what we are saying that there is nothing wrong for earning a reasonable profit, but when you are doing it at the expenses of the masses, it also goes to the economy. And that is why you see the poverty keep on increasing, because the inflation is very high, because the local producers were not able to meet up our demand, and instead they keep on increasing the prices. Why the price of cement is now 5,000 per bag? Simply because the local producers couldn't meet up the demand. If they could have met up the demand, the price will definitely sure fall down. So open policy or flexible exchange rate, it could have been better for the economy. But remember that if you allowed flexible exchange rate, there is no question of banning the periodic change.
All right,
that need to be supplied by CBN.
That's
the
about
will supply for them.
Mr. Kasimo, that's about how much we can take on the show today. But a very big thank you to you for your contribution on the show.
Okay, I'm happy to be with you. Thank you very much.
Have a fantastic day. All right, I've been speaking with Mr. Kasimo Garba Karafi, MD CEO at Securities and Funds Limited. And we would take a break right now. We'll be right back to continue the conversation. It is Business Breakfast. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Now, the equities market opened the year on a positive territory as the Nigeria Exchange All-Share Index appreciated by 0.73% to close at 43,026.23 basis points, as against plus 2.16% appreciation recorded previously. Market breadth closed positive as Academy led 17 gainers, as against 25 losers, topped by NNFM at the end of yesterday's session. Market turnover, however, closed negative as volume dropped by minus 51.81% as against the positive outlook of 24.89% uptick recorded in the previous session. Chams, Wema Bank and Zenith Bank were the most active stock to boost market turnover. Zenith and Nigerian breweries topped market value list. To further analyze this market and what went down in the stock markets yesterday, we have Ambrose Omodion, Chief Research Officer at Invest Data Limited. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thanks
Ambrose.
for having me.
Good to see you in this new year.
Yeah,
Happy New Year to you.
Same to you, my brother.
Now, looking at the market, it started the year on a positive note with 0.73%. And this is more or less, is it a good news or a bad news for investors?
It's a good news. I'll start that because also people expect that there will be January effect in this month of January. But I'll tell you, Nigeria is changing gradually in terms of market movement in January. In the last 5 years before this month, we saw that January was up for 3 good years. Now it's another year that we expect that it should be up again. Why I say so is that you can see that crude oil price was almost at $80 yesterday. It's a positive sentiment for the market, and also we're expecting that those companies that had December year end will start releasing the results for unaudited account from this month of January that entered 31st December. If those numbers start coming and they are positive, directing where they are going in terms of dividend payment, that will turn the face of the market. But you see that since we have seen that in the first quarter of the year, anytime in Nigeria is the way we have the earning season that the peak, because that is where those companies that had December that pay their dividend, they reward investors in that first quarter. That means they will come up with activity in terms of volume, in terms of demand for stock, and in terms of activities. That is where you see fund coming back to the market to look for dividend.
You talked, sorry to butt in, but you talked about an increase in which we saw, of course, the increase in the price of crude oil. What would you say is responsible for that?
No, crude oil, people are saying because of the, what's it called, the Omicron, it will drop. But OPEC meeting was held yesterday, and they try to manage their supply. And when it comes up, that is why the price, that is why I tell you that crude oil price will always oscillate between that either $70 to $80 within this period, because OPEC will not allow the price to go down, because it's going to affect all the OPEC countries if the price go down. No, but I believe that if many companies again go ahead and start releasing their lockdown because of Omicron, that will also increase demand for crude oil. That will drive the price up. Don't forget that when the price is up here in Nigeria, it will impact our reserve. And when it's impact, that means we'll have money to manage our FS.
Even though it doesn't reflect on the price of PMS.
Yeah, but it will not be able to manage our FS, because if we are selling at high price, the return from Nigeria, our standard reserve will go up. Then the CBN will see FS to manage what is going. For me, it's a good one for our nation, Nigeria. But let's expect that in the new year as we are going, before
we talk about the new year, what does this positivity, this new outlook, what does it mean for investors?
For example, now they just saw the first trading, the other day is the secondary trend of the. If this trend of that positive trend we saw yesterday continue today, it's a good one. But I'm saying that the crude oil price hitting $80 again is also a plus for the market, because in Nigeria, if you look at when oil price is going up, our market moves up in that direction. That means that there's positive sentiment when oil price is going up, because major kind of income or revenue to Nigeria is crude oil, and when it's going up, you see foreign investors start looking at. And also, if you look at the activities in the market yesterday, there are some stock that you see foreign investors are still having interest in Nigeria. Stock like SS, stock like Steplat, GTB. See that they are still and the Nigeria brewery. There are still kind of activities of foreign investors. While others like MTN and Dangote, you see their demand was not too strong. That is that as the year is just beginning, most of the fund managers also have not resumed. That means we have to see the end of this week to see whether they are back. That's why if you look at market yesterday, it was just a missed market for me, because the volume was not much, because most of the traders are not available They are still already.
So are you optimistic? We're starting on a good note. Are you optimistic that that trend will continue?
Yeah, we expect that. After we have seen a strong rally on the last day of the year, you say yesterday, but possibility of profit taking are from tomorrow, Thursday is there, but profit taking is part and parcel of the market. Not necessarily you need to be afraid, because anybody that made money have to take profit. That means when I take profit, you don't need to be afraid, because another person will buy that stock because it's targeted to make profit again. That means it is when there's a negative news that the market is good and you start panicking. But if the market is experiencing profit taking activities, you don't need to panic, because it's part and parcel of the market anywhere in the world.
So what are your predictions, your outlook for 2022?
For me, I see also a mixed market, very volatile market in this year, because there will be policy changes going forward. That also affect the market. But for smart investors, what I always say anywhere, that are knowledgeable, because don't just be market to follow your friends. Have information, know where you're investing. For those guys that are really have information in the market, this authority we are seeing, those relations will also create opportunity for them. Like what I told them last week, I was discussing that of subsidy as they are planning. There are some companies that also are still going to give you good dividend, and that dividend will support their price, and good earnings will support their price. For that, go move your investment to that companies or that window. You don't need to be complaining. It's about when you are playing ball. If you see where the game is, you move to that side where the game is, and maybe you don't say because the government want to change policy, and maybe panicking already. No, you have to be set again. That's why investors should go ahead of the government as they are making announce their policy. You start interpreting the policy where it's going to favor you. Position ahead of, because every investment is against expectation. That means you need to take position before it materializes. So
you see investors taking advantage of this new positivity. You're talking about proactiveness, that they should be proactive in their moves.
Exactly. You don't need to wait until you see the number. Like now we're saying they were expecting a non-audited account to come. If you are waiting to see that number, that means you're a baby investor. You need to position ahead of the number. When the number comes, it's positive, market's reacting, you have made some money and you start living. Because if you are an income investor, I'm a trader, we'll have different goals in the same market. You'll be waiting for dividend to cash. Me, I'm waiting to make capital position and move. That means that's why the market is so interesting. Because a market where we have all traders, it's one way. But since the market have traders and investors that are thinking long term, why I'm taking short term, both of us are in the market trying to look for information. That's why the market will balance. That's why when we say foreign investors have left a market for good, I tell you that it's for good. Because if foreign investors enter, wow, we have a lot of fun in the market. If there's any shake in Nigeria, now that we're in pre-election year, foreign investors, if they are the one controlling the market now, as from let's say April or May, when they start selling, the market will be bleeding. But now they're not in the market. We manage ourselves through 2020, 2021. I believe we have to manage ourselves Nigerians, because we have the job of the market now as local investors. It's good for us. But when you are dependent on foreign investors, you can't plan with your market. Even though you are targeted to come and invest in your economy, invest your market, you don't leave the market for them, because when they're in the market, there's no stability in the market. But as a mature economy, they will allow for investors to come and take 60% of their market. But here in Nigeria, we allow them to do that. When they are going, market will be bleeding. But if you are giving them 20%, they are in this market. When they are going, you feel much of their impact.
You talked about subsidy removal earlier. You said that that would also have an effect on the economy. But if you look at that vis-a-vis the stock exchange market, how do you see it reflecting or affecting the market? Because there have been predictions in some quarters that the government may not even remove the subsidy.
If they do that, we will be hearing story again of development. Because when you ask government why you're not doing, they said they are doing subsidy. What is that? Many Nigerians are paying from their nose to buy the phone on the pump price about 174 or Then what are subsidizing? Then before now, earlier when they came in government, we were told that they were subsidy remover. Later you go back to that same subsidy. Then we have not seen the part even when they are subsidized at this point. If they want to let them remove, let's see where we are. Only that we don't have statistics that if they remove the subsidy today, we don't know where we are going to put them more. That's why Nigeria.
There's no transparency.
Yeah, Nigeria is not. We are not trusting our government to that level, because if the government that come to that level can't trust them. Okay, yes, this subsidy we are putting 200 billion every month or every year. And look, now people buying fuel at 200, 250, but this 800 billion we are putting, we're going to put all the roads in order, all the airport in order. We know that in the next 3 years, we are taking 800 billion to do one. We'll see what it's doing, because we'll see it's physical. But now we don't know. You say, okay, you want to pay Nigerians, 5,000 for if in case you move because of transportation. Do you have data? That means some people in the government will be rich. Because you don't have the data to say, okay, you are sending it to social person. And also, if you give them 5,000 naira, that will not do anything for them.
So let's look at that vis-a-vis the stock market.
The stock market, if they remove the subsidy today, there are some sectors in the market that's going to gain from it. I'll tell you, the oil and gas sector will gain from it, because most of them, as to speak now, with this new rule, they want to remove subsidy, they will go and get their inventory down at the old price. Then if you take away the price, the new price will if they now increase the price, the old stock will be sold at the new price. Automatically, there will be what we call profit sharing. They will see which profit from that, because if you bought now, for example, now at that 69 or 62, and government move the price to 270, or then you have made good money from there. For me, that is settled that brings, but the other sector will suffer because the cost of production will go up. And if because is you're going to eat up into your what? Into your profit, unless those companies that are able to pass their cost to consumer by increasing the price of their goods or services and able to have good patronage. But we know that when your price is high, I'll tell you, demand of your product will drop, unless that product is essential.
Now let's look at investors' position. What position should they take, and what sectors should they be looking at?
For me, investors in Nigeria at this point should look at which sector will benefit if there is subsidy removal. Like you just said now, they are likely not to remove it. Fine. Okay, if they didn't remove it and inflation continue to trickle down, as it is now, start declining, that means there are some sectors also benefit. That means some funds also leave the equity market. Because if inflation continues to go down and there is little adjustment in interest rates, funds will leave the equity market to where there's better returns, because in equity market, in any investment climate or financial market, funds move in circle, looking for where there's higher return. We call it circular flow of fund, looking for where can make more return. If they increase interest rate, then it's going to affect the equity market.
All right, we'll definitely continue the conversation, but we have to take a breather now. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. All right, thank you so much for staying with us. I still have Ambrose Omodion with me. He is the Chief Research Officer at Invest Data Limited. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, let's look at the direction of the stock market now. You've done a lot of analysis as regards what the new year would be like. But let's see what direction the market will be taking this 2022.
No, I've said earlier that we expect a volatile market for the year 2022, but I'm looking at what will happen in the month of January as we are now, because January, I said last year was up almost 5.8% up before it declined in February. Now we're all seeing a good start for this year 2021. Then 2022, sorry. What are the factors that also will drive the market up? And it's time to look at your technicals to see the sentiment in the market as speak now. That's why I want to look at this chart now to tell you where the market is heading for this week and for the rest of the month. That will tell you it is the market behavior. And I tell you, factor that will drive it in this first month is if companies start releasing their unaudited account, because December 31st is the last day for the fourth quarter of 2021. That means they have just 30 days to release their result for unaudited account for that quarter. It will come this month. It's going to give investors an insight and where the company is heading to. And if you are seeing a better number from what they did the previous year 2020, that tells that this company are likely to pay you a better dividend or not. That is what will drive the market. And also liquidity will come. I don't believe that there will be any adjustment in rates for now. We know that the first MPC meeting will coming up in this January, but I don't see CBN adjust, because yes, we are seeing some positive economic data trickling down, but it doesn't give enough strength for you to adjust your rate at this beginning of the year, because you need to stabilize. Omicron is on the ground, and also we are thinking of either removing of subsidy or not. Then you can't temper with.
Is that why the CBN has retained the monetary policy parameters for a while?
Well, yeah, so that we can recover from our what's it called? Yeah, pandemic. Yeah, that's why they left it up. They can't adjust it now because Omicron is on the ground now. For me, let's watch the trend in terms of the rate. The rate was to determine whether fund will still remain in equity market or go to fund. Before I finish, let's just look at the chart for today. The market closed positive yesterday, But looking at this chart, look at this point here. Let me just take a draft here. Let me just draw something here so that you will know that the market is really on a move now. Markets have covered all this point from here down to here. You can see that this is a resistance level here. Let me just take it for you to see with yourself. You see, we have covered now. You can see this what we call a rectangle trend, and here you can see that the market was oscillating between this rectangle before there's a breakout. And this breakout shows that market was up on the last trading day of the year, gaining 2.2%. Then yesterday, market gained 0.7. But we are looking at market to break out this next point here. This is the point we are looking at. Once market break out this point again, that means the momentum of the recovery is strong. You as an investor, you want to come back and look at what is the MACD saying. MACD is already crossing from the blue. You can see the red line and the blue line here up. It's a sign that this market is up already for the day yesterday. One for today, we expect that with the listing of Boa food, market is likely to also close positive if the demand for that stock remain up. For me, investors should not panic because we're already seeing sign that the trend, the chart is still positive and strong. Market is on a strong recovery, and once it break out 43,162, which is the next resistance level here, once it break it out up, that means market has entered another new trend again. For me, investors should just relax and watch the market. Seeing this, this volume symbol here, it says that the positive buy has been on the market for the past 3 days. It's a sign that yes, no investor should panic at all, but rather invest in those companies that has good dividend yield, fundamental, and they're having a positive technicals that will guide you on how to go for the day. And I believe that this week also, because we're expecting more information to come, we expect that will guide investor going into the week. But generally, the month of January, before in Nigeria, because of school fees payment, market is always down. But because of the new direction that came, that company must release the result in that within 30 days of January, that also changed the face of the market. That when numbers start coming, people are thinking of, oh, okay, this company can pay me dividend on the strength of their unaudited number. I can have position for their full year dividend coming in between February and March. For me, let's just keep our finger crossed as investor. The market is still strong, and
so when are they likely to pay this dividend?
Dividend will start coming from February to April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we hope for a profitable month and by extension a profitable year.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much, Ambrose Amodio, CRO, Invest Data Limited. Thank you so much for the robust analysis.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll take a short break. We'll be back to look at the commodity markets. Please stay with us. And thanks for joining us again. Now, moving into the commodity market. Oil prices fell on Wednesday as rising fuel stockpiles in the United States raised concerns of declining demand in the world's biggest oil consumer amid a massive spike in COVID-19 cases caused by the Omicron variant. U.S. gasoline stockpiles rose by 7.1 million barrels in the week to December 31, the American Petroleum Institute reported late on Tuesday. The surge in stockpiles, which exceeded analyst expectations, undermined the bullish outlook from investors during the previous session when price climbed more than 1% as market participants took the decision of major producers to add supply till next month as a sign of confidence that surging COVID-19 cases would not hit demand for long. Brent crude futures fell 28 cents to $79.72 per barrel after hitting a high of $80.26, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures fell 29 cents or 0.4% to $76.70 a barrel. Well, that's the size of our show today. From all of us here at iBrandTV, do have an awesome year ahead. My name is Omobolanle Adeshi. Bye for now.
A maxi dress is a floor or ankle-length informal dress. Maxi dresses are form-fitting at the top and loose-flowing at the bottom, cut to flow over the body. They are usually made out of cotton or polyester and come in a variety of necklines, colors and patterns. We love maxi dresses. They've been everywhere for the past few years and for good reason. The maxi dress first became popular during the 1960s when it was designed by high-end fashion designer Oscar de la Renta. The dress continued to remain popular through the 70s until it went into a bit of a recession during the 80s. During this period, play suits became more popular and these were ultimately replaced by mini skirts during the 90s. It wasn't until recently that the maxi dress began to make a comeback. Now they are just as popular as they were in the 60s and 70s, but with a few changes. For example, the hemline is a little longer in modern-day maxi dresses compared to the ones from 50 years ago. We can't help gushing about this wardrobe staple, so here are top favorite things about maxi dresses. A maxi dress means you don't have to worry about your shirt coming untucked, a button gape in your blouse, or anything riding up when you sit down. It's literally got you covered. A maxi dress is perfect for ensuring that more conservative events like church, tea with the in-laws, or that fancy baby shower are worry-free. They are low maintenance. Who has time for dry cleaning? You can throw most maxi dresses in the washing machine and be just fine. Although some need to line dry. Many also resist wrinkling, so you can roll up one into your tight little burrito and tuck it into your bag for your next vacation. No wardrobe malfunctions. A maxi dress means you don't have to worry about your skirts coming untucked, a button gap in your blouse, or anything riding up when you sit down. It's literally got you covered. A maxi dress is perfect for ensuring that more conservative events such as church, tea with the in-laws, or fancy baby showers are worry-free. They're classic. As much as we love a good trend, maxi dresses date back to the 70s and aren't going out of style anytime soon. They have major staying power due to the wide variety of patterns, styles, colors, and fabrics available. A solid color maxi in a classic shape will see you through changing fads. All you have to do is update an accessory or two. Now, because maxis come in so many different styles, you'd want to give some consideration to where you're planning to wear them to. For example, if you're planning on wearing your maxi at night, you may want a more formal maxi dress, such as one with sleeves or one that is made of a luxe fabric. For everyday daytime wear, go with a casual and versatile maxi dress. To complete the casual look, Try pairing your dress with a set of flat sandals and an everyday handbag. Finally, consider whether you'll be wearing heels with the dress. Adding heels will raise you off the ground a bit, so you'll want to consider the length of the dress and make sure it still looks okay before heading out. All of the nude and taupe and natural tone sandals and wedges are great because they go with so many things, and those wedges can work their ways into jeans as well.